Speaking of people you may think are stupid, what was the story with Destiny and Lex Fridman?
Lex Fridman originally wanted me on with Destiny. I said, that's not going to happen. He then contacted me about 3 weeks later, and he said, how about coming on with Benny Morris? I said, fine. Benny Morris is serious. I think his politics are horrible, but he's serious. And then he said, well, it would be Morris and Destiny. And at that point, I faced the dilemma, which is if I said no, it would appear as if I were afraid to be on with Morris.
That his whole consideration was he didn't want to seem afraid, but he wasn't afraid of being on with me. I guess maybe because he thinks I'm not serious, but
which I'm not afraid to be. But if I said yes, then I'm burdened with this other person. I think I could just ignore him. And I said, well, if he's coming on with that other person, then I should have somebody also, and that would be Muin Rabbani. So it was a matter of, obviously, curiosity, why Fridman was so determined that I would be on with Destiny. Now, you might say for broad public interest, but the debate between me and Benny Morris would already have a lot of public interest, especially during the high. So why was he so determined? And that question remains. That question remains.
But I need to find like a new platform to stream where it's just like 20 view streams. I want to ditch my whole fan base, and I just want to go find some message board to argue with people. And because like, what like, I feel like I've said this a million times, and now I'm saying it again. It's like, do you understand my complaints, right? Like, imagine we have this collection of facts. Guy says he's going to kill John. Guy goes to John's house. We're not sure what happens there. Guy leaves John's house. John is found dead with bullets in his head. Gun is retrieved from from Guy's neighbor's house with Guy's fingerprints on the gun. Like, imagine this is like the collection of facts. Like, in my world, or in my imaginary world, it's like, oh, okay, let's run over the evidence. Let's have an argument, okay? So we didn't actually get the gun from Guy's house. It came from his neighbor's house, but like, we've got this other collection. I was like, let's debate. Like, let's go over it. I don't know, it could be fun. Go over the evidence, everything. But like, the online world is like, Guy says he's going to kill John. Like, when he said he was going to kill John, that was just a meme, and we don't even know what Johnny's talking about. When he goes to John's house, that could have just been a coincidence. Also, John is anti-Semitic, and Guy is actually also anti-Semitic, but he's a different flavor of anti-Semitism. We don't know what happens in the house, and then he leaves John's house, but we don't know how long he was there for, so we're going to say that he didn't have time to kill him because it was only 4 hours, and if he was going to kill him, he watched a karate movie once, and he always said he would kill somebody with karate, even though I don't have any... It's just like, everything is just like so convoluted and fucking stupid. It's just, I feel like I'm being gaslit by everything in this world. It's all so dumb. Like, what is this question? I don't know why Lex Fridman would have Destiny. I don't know why Lex Fridman, a really popular internet personality, would have Destiny. Also, a really popular internet personality onto a debate with me and Betty Moore. Like, is that not like just plainly obvious? It's the most plainly obvious thing in the world because it would get a lot of views. No offense to you or Benny Morris. You guys just don't get a lot of views because you're not super popular internet people, which is fine. Well, Finkelstein kind of is. Like, what is even the largest debate between him and Benny Morris? Is there any? Are there any debates that were super popular between him and Benny Morris? before our debate? I see you've got popular debates that are showing up on Piers Morgan, but that's because Piers Morgan is hosting them. Like, I'm pretty sure the conversation that we had on Lex's channel was the most... Well, no, there's one video of Finkelstein that's more popular, and it's when he's screaming at that girl in the audience. This one. Oh, wait. Our debate might even be more popular than this, actually, now. Finkelstein, Destiny, Morris, Rabbani. 3 point... Yeah, so this is it's literally the most famous video you've ever been in. So it's even retrospectively, it's a stupid question. Why did he do this? Because it's going to get a lot of views. Like, and it did. Like, it's so obviously the case that...
Now, you might say for broad public interest, but the debate between me and Benny Morris would already have a lot of public interest, especially during the high. So why was he so determined? And
it's also, and this is another thing why I don't believe any of these people. I said this a million times, bro. Put me in front of a very popular a person who's 10 times more popular than me that I think has horrible talking points. Yes, every time I will accept that debate. If Mr. Beast was out here giving some crazy talk on some political issue that I felt really informed on, and they were like, Destiny, do you want to debate Mr. Beast? Why would I debate Mr. Beast? Like, is he, like, why? Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass on that.
that question remains. That question remains.
Do you have any?
Nope.
idea?
Nope. But when I was told that that person called Destiny was paid.
Now explain why you wouldn't do it for Aiden Ross. If there was a formal debate set up between me and Aiden on some topic on another person's channel, I'd probably accept that. Aiden's popular enough, sure. No? Well, have I refused a debate like that before?
And coached. Now, I've made the allegation already.
Wait, what?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. But when I was told that that person called Destiny was paid and coached. Now, I've made the allegation already.
All of my notes and streaming and reading on this are all public. Coached by who? He's going to say the Mossad. He's actually going to do it.
Yeah, I've said what I just told you. And then that
And
thing
paid where?
called Destiny went on and said, he's looking for a libel lawyer. But nothing ever, obviously, I think the very last thing he wanted to do was litigate this because discovery would be a very uncomfortable thing for him.
Your Honor, we want access to all of his DMs between him and the fucking shin bed and the Mossad and the IDF. Yes, you got me.
Already said publicly.
He's not going to do the Jalumni thing, right? He's not going to do this. There's no shot, right?
That I know that he was paid. I know, but I never said the Mossad. I said, quote, an Israel advocacy group, because that's what I was told. And he was paid, quote, a handsome sum.
I'm serious. This is not a joke. Because fuck this and fuck streaming. Listen, if you want to pay me out, if there are any countries listening, just email me on my personal email, okay? At this point, I'll take it. I don't give a fuck, okay? If these motherfuckers are going to accuse me of it anyway, I want to get paid. Also, public enemy number 1. 2, and this is a close 2, is Trump. And 3 is Elon, okay? But those two go back and forth. Number 1 is fucking George Soros. Fuck you. Fuck you for not doing all the things they accused you of doing. You needed to be our Iron Man, okay? We needed you to buy the media and buy the votes and to rig everything, and you didn't. You suck. Fuck you, George Soros, okay? You've let us all down.
I was also told, quote, that they rehearsed with him for several weeks to prepare him.
How much is this story gonna grow? What?
For the occasion.
I'd like to get right into your upcoming book. So God is
Yeah, let's just move on from that.
Inquiry into corruption in high places.
I also like how this guy's not even interested. Like, that's a pretty big claim. You're saying that one of the larger political streamers was coached by an Israeli advocacy group for that debate?
And I think that a good place to start, especially for our listeners who aren't familiar with your background.
You can't let people do this to you. You have to start suing for defamation. The problem is there's no damages here, right? It's not like my career is being damaged or anything. So even if he was defaming me, and even if all of that was like proven easily, there's no damage here. So
Is to hear that context about your parents and your family's history with the Holocaust.
oh my God. Oh, my parents died in the Holocaust, which is one of the reasons why I get so upset when people bring it up.
That's one of those standard questions where does one begin? First of all,
Jokes aside, do you really do it all solo, or do you ever workshop/brainstorm with ghostwriters? Do you ever bounce ideas off of people in your inner circle? For what? I don't have... The problem is that like once we start getting into like heavily into the research, it's very, very, very hard to find anybody that could even bounce stuff off. Usually it's just people that end up calling in from stream. I think in the past, like I spoke with Irk, was able to link me stuff. Joanna was able to link me stuff. Just through arguing with, was it Axhole? Was that his name? Am I getting that right? Axhole? Like I was able to learn a lot of stuff through arguing with him. Yeah, usually it's just going to be people from my community that are interested. And then some, people will message me on either side. There were a couple of, that Oculent guy, I think he's either Israeli or Jewish at least. He came in and argued with me and sent me links and shit. That one, oh my God, I can't believe this is so disrespectful. I visited his house and his family. The Palestinian guy, he's popular. I think he comes from Learnerbox's community. Sev, that's not his real name, right? No. He sent me stuff like, yeah. So it's just like it's like a community thing, but. Oh yeah, my good friend Benny, he called himself Benny N. I never really figured out who that guy was, but he used to DM me a ton of shit.
And I want you to know, baby, I love you like a love song, baby. I love you like a love song, baby.
Fuck Europe. Fuck these guys. Fuck my country. What is Trump doing? Destiny, that's not true. He's preventing future contracts and show appearances. He's been lying way too much anytime he goes on any podcast now. I doubt. It would be, like, proving that would be really, really, really hard. There's three things, I think, right? For a civil cause of action, you have to show that you have a cause of action. You have to show that the court has jurisdiction. And then you have to show that the court can provide remedy or make you whole or whatever. And there's just proving how much money I've lost. What would that be considered a liquidated damage if I... for losing out on show appearances? It would just be, fuck, it's not worth it. Potential loss is a harm. You have to prove. You have to prove stuff. Destiny, damages feel like a bad requirement to have for society. Well, no, because otherwise, what are you going to do? Let's say you can't prove damages on a thing. So just imagine what that would look like, right? So let's say somebody defames me. Let's say I'm a private citizen, so lower standards of evidence and all that, right? Or lower standard to have the claim be valid or whatever, right? Let's say somebody defames me, okay? He goes to a high school auditorium and tells all the students, this guy, Steven, he has a 1-inch dick, okay? I know it, it's true. He's an actual gnome, okay? And then we sue him, and I prove it in court. There it is. He did it. He did defame me. And the court's like, okay, you win. Good job. And it's like, that's all I wanted. Thank you. But like, if there's no remedy, if there's no like, well, what are we going to do about it, right? There's no point for the court to hear the case, right? Destiny, damages are presumed when being accused of a crime, but putting a number on that is still hard. Sure, that's the difference between defamation per se and per quad, right? Per se is where you're accused of something that's just considered so egregious. I think it has to be a felony, right? Or it might be categories of felonies where there are, but then there are damages there. They're just, you could say statutory, right? They're assumed, there's just like an automatic payout depending on what it is. So if somebody would say, he's a rapist, and you know that that's not true. Is that a bad thing? The thing you gain is setting the record and protecting your character. Yeah, but the courts probably shouldn't exist to protect people's character, right? That's what the public is for, and the press and the media and everybody else, right? Otherwise, imagine all the garbage in the courts of people just trying to like clear their good name. Wait, somebody said zoom in Limeo. Is there gonna be something bad in this? Hold on. Did Dominion prove damages in $500 million? I don't think they got to the point of even proving any damage because it was settled pretrial. But also, I imagine the Dominion damages would have been very easy to prove because of all the lost contracts and work, because they're already, that's like a real business with revenue and everything. What am I zooming in on? Is it Elon? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking at. Is this what I'm looking at? Why did they settle then? Fox News? Because they were almost certainly going to lose that case. And it would have been horrible PR for them. The Mirror, oh. Ugh. Oh my God, bro. It's the middle manager Titan. Oh no. What do you think of Zizek? No, I mean Dominion. Why did Dominion settle? The nice thing about a settlement is that things are more predictable. You never, like, a jury trial, you never really know what could happen. Like anything, it could, some wacky shit could always happen. Like nobody really wants to. If you can avoid it, you don't really want to go to trial just because anything could happen and things could get wacky. Who knows, you know? Wait, are these guys even down right now? Boeing Martin, good one. Or how old is that tweet? Can you explain why Trump is so orange? I don't know, makes him seem younger and healthier. It's like a spray tan, basically, right? I mean, why do you think Depp went after Amber Heard after losing his initial case against her? To sue for damages, right? Because he felt like he'd been defamed, no? That might be the next court case we watch. Just because it'd be good to know all of it. Or at least some of it. Hopefully the audio quality on that is better. He lost a bunch of acting roles because of it. I'm speaking with such little confidence because I have not done the research into this, but I'm pretty sure that's not true. I think there was a huge like PR campaign from Depp and his people to try to write Amber Heard as like a super crazy person, and I think she was crazy-ish. But I mean, I think that Johnny Depp was probably crazy too. But Depp was getting kicked off of sets and stuff because he was a fucking alcoholic, right? People are trying to say he lost jobs or lost future acting roles because of that, but I think he had a really bad reputation to work with at that point, regardless of anything related to Amber Heard. So his initial case basically didn't even need any evidence, right? I don't know. I would have to read the complaint and look at the jurisdiction, because weren't one of these done in the UK? I could be totally wrong. Did we finish the other case? No, I really just wanted to watch her do the cross-examination of this guy, the McMichael dude. But apparently the other two didn't even testify, so it's just her cross-examination of him. Fuck. If you don't know the answer, you're just guessing. I'm permabanning you. If anybody knows the answer, in the defense's opening statement, they claim that Ahmaud Arbery had been seen on video 4 times. Was that him all 4 times? Is that true? Does anybody know if that's the case? Destiny, yeah, it's the UK one that was super weak. Okay. In the UK, it's a lot easier to sue for defamation as well. You should hear the judge's remarks too at the end of this. Pretty damning. Oh, okay. White House says that a large bruise on Trump's hand is from shaking hands all day, every day. Is it called hematolia or hema? What is it called when you like bruise super easily if somebody touches you? I don't even know if it's a disease actually. It's hema something, right? Some bullshit. Hema is like with blood, right? Hemophilia. Ooh, that's a scary one. When you pronounce that. Are you okay, dude? No, man. I'm a hemophile. It was never proven. It was just a video of a black that looks like him. Can we not say a black? Jesus. That looks like him walking around and going to the back to get water. Well, that was one of the things I was kind of confused about because in the opening statement, they show a picture of a dude, but his hair is like crazy. I'm like, is that actually him? I have no idea, but I don't know if that's ever brought up again in the trial or not. Hemophilia is a bleeding disorder. Oh. Name of disorder. Oh my God, where you bruise super easily. Oh, it's thrombocytopenia, of course. How could I forget? Isn't there a simpler name for that? Maybe I was thinking of hemophilia, but it's just for blood clotting, which isn't. Or no, maybe it is. Because if you don't clot very easily, then you bruise more easily too. Maybe? Fuck you, I don't know. Correct me if I'm misunderstanding since I'm European, but do Americans not understand that when Putin likes your country, it's probably a bad decision? Okay, let me help you out here, okay? Because you're European, so you're a little bit slow. So let me give you let me help you out here, buddy, okay? Okay, if you're European, let me give you some guidance. You said, correct me if I'm misunderstanding. Now, if the conversation is about foreign policy, all right? But do Americans not understand just this doesn't matter? The answer is always yes, okay? The answer is always yes. They don't. It doesn't really matter what you're putting after this. If it has to do with foreign policy, the answer is always yes. Don't waste your time typing anything past this point, okay? Average Americans never even left their country. No offense, it's a huge country, okay? We don't need to leave our country. We have everything you could ever ask for. This is God's holy land. One step closer to the contempt of court timeline. Judge Ali, ooh, Trump's not going to like this guy, has granted the motion to enforce his restraining order. Why do you need you shouldn't need a motion to enforce a restraining order. A restraining order should enforce itself. Jesus, okay. Against the state/USAID spending freeze, he has ordered the Trump administration to pay all invoices and letter of credit drawdown requests for work done prior to February 13th by 11:59 tomorrow night. What we'll do this today. Fuck it, take some notes. Is this the guy that originally filed a thing saying, hey, so I noticed that I filed a TRO and you fucking retards haven't followed it yet? Is this that same one? Was that concerning the USAID stuff? Destiny, don't think so. Okay. Happening now. A federal judge who ordered the unfreezing of USAID contract spending is voicing frustration as a Trump administration lawyer repeatedly refuses to say whether they have actually taken any steps to implement his 12-day-old order. Judge, I don't know why I can't get a straight answer from you. Are you aware of an unfreezing of the disbursement of funds for those contracts and agreements that were frozen before February 13th? I'm not in a position to answer that. This continues to be going exceptionally badly. Wait, link me this! Is this in a motion or order or something? Where can I find this? Have you ever seen this clip? What the fuck? No, wait, don't. I don't even know how that could possibly have fucked this up so hard, but... Sorry. Holy shit, what is happening here? Sorry, hold on. Six times 20 minus 12. What was the question even? Why am I being linked to this? I feel like I would probably get... I feel like I would get these questions wrong if I was put on the spot. Sunk? Destiny's legal excuses don't matter. From Legal Mindset, a truly real lawyer. They hit him with the name 3 countries. Yeah, I feel like it's like if you were to go up to a person like, name 3 men right now. Like it would take, they'd have to think for a second. Like, wait, what? YouTube hears nothing. Wait, what do you mean? You mean just when I muted it for a second? I think that was older. Okay, fuck. There, 30 seconds delayed. Yeah. Remember, kick.com/destiny if you don't want it to be delayed at all, but it'll be lower quality. But not that much lower. Did you see Naomi King's channel is gone? Wait, who was that again? Oh, the one lady. Oh, rip. I can't hear the entire video on YouTube. Literally no sound. Wait, what? Did you see? Shut up. Do we permaban Chase for the audio trolling? We literally did not hear the YouTube video. How, what do you? I can't tell if I'm getting trolled or not. Like the whole video had zero audio. No, I wasn't able to hear it. Audio on YouTube is fine. It was in the right ear only. I can't tell who's trolling me right now. The plaintiffs who won an order unfreezing USAID funding have filed a second emergency motion saying the Trump administration is still not in compliance. Emergency renewed motion to enforce temporary restraining order. This is yesterday. What are the norms for holding people in contempt? Please stop giving him 450 million fucking warnings. If you've granted a TRO and defense is not showing that they're following the TRO, then hold them in contempt. He's had 2 weeks? If you were in Naomi's situation, would you just delete your whole channel? Seems like a really bad move. Listen, just say you had a mental breakdown, play some ukulele, keep making content. How many people, why do you guys, there are so many weird people. I'm seeing so many people type the message when I was wearing a single earbud in my right ear and then I couldn't hear anything until I changed the audio balance. How many of you guys listen to my stream with one earbud in? I'm seeing like 5 or 10 people type this. Chase and I only have the left headset on and we didn't hear it, yes. I do that at work. Just get AirPod Pros. And if you can't afford them, then donate more to my stream for good financial advice and I can help you make enough money to afford them. I do that while I'm at the gym. Good for you. Have you gone over the Doge resignations? No, not yet. I just wanted more information on this court order. I'm deaf in one ear and watching in 4K, no sound. Shut the fuck up. Have you ever investigated Poly Market? No. I'm on Vyvanse. I don't do Poly anymore. I'm just kidding. Stop. Okay. Control F. USAID. Executive action. Dismantling of USAID. Are these the people who filed the... What is this on the right? Is this the original filing date? last update. Le v Trump. Did they not have the updates from today, I guess? Spelled wrong in previous messages. It's hard to keep track of all these things. Oh, it's Global Health Council. Okay. That's the plaintiff for this one. Global Health Council. This guy here. Okay. On February 11th, plaintiffs moved for a TRO to stop the Trump admin. On February 13th, the court granted the TRO. On February 20th, the court granted in part plaintiff's motion for enforcement of the court's TRO to the extent defendants have not complied with the terms, but they did not make a finding of contempt. And then, so this would be update 4 today, huh? Full court. Listen, if you want to go through other filings, no, fuck all that shit. What happens if you file motions with the court? Usually whenever people are filing stuff, you're always like very polite. You're like, we respectfully request the court. Like if you were to write one of these as like an asshole, like we're not praying for relief, we're demanding relief. We're not respectfully requesting. Plaintiffs therefore demand that the court order. Do you think that like anybody would read this and be like, fuck you? Is there no, I'm guessing there's no video of this, huh? United States District Court. So U.S. court means it's federal. District of Columbia is the court. So we don't have video of this. I don't know why I can't get a straight answer from you, he said. Are you aware of an unfreezing of the disbursement of funds for those contracts and agreements that were frozen before February 13th? I'm not in a position to answer that. You've had like almost 2 weeks to comply with this TRO. What the fuck are you doing? You were able to freeze all the payments instantly, but you couldn't... Hello? What's going on here? Oof. This was a couple days ago, huh? Similarly, oh, hold on. Okay, we'll read this. Sorry. This seems pretty... this seems pretty brutal. The defendants have moved for clarification or a stay, meaning stop for a second, don't do this TRO, right? A stay is stop, don't go through with what you're going through, basically. Defendants have moved for clarification or a stay pending emergency appellate relief of the court's orders dated February 13th. So pending, I think, an appellate, like an appeal court hearing this, the circuit court above or whatever, granting in part plaintiff's motion for a temporary restraining order, the plaintiffs being the Global Health Organization, right? And then the temporary restraining order saying you have to give the funds back. You can't do this yet because it doesn't look like you're even going to win this case, okay? And February 20th, 2025, granting in part the AIDS vaccine plaintiff's motion to enforce that order. AIDS vaccine, ECF, blah, 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 global health, blah, blah. Specifically, defendant state, defendants here would be the government or Trump's administration, right? Defendants state that they require clarification as to whether the court orders, 1, prohibit the defendants from relying on existing statutory or contractual bases for suspending or terminating contracts or grants under the terms of the award or under other authorities. That's a troll question. And 2, treat all contractual and grant terms as enforceable by contempt. And or 3, prohibit defendants from conducting a payment integrity review process, including pursuant to statutorily or contractually conferred authority to suspend or terminate contracts or grants. Do I have to explain all of these, or do these make sense as I read them out? I can never tell if I'm like over-explaining everything, or if I should keep... Do I keep explaining each sentence part, or just read it? There you go. What? Hi, baby. Okay, I'll keep explaining. Okay. So in this, basically, this is like YouTube lawyers, or this is like cute law, where like the judge says, you are hereby ordered to stop attacking the defendant, or rather like we're issuing a restraining order. You can't be within 10 feet of the defendant. And then somebody's like, and then they file a response or something like, excuse me, I can't be within 10 feet of them. What about in Minecraft? We share a server together. So I think this order is bullshit. You're saying I can't even raid on the same team anymore in World of Warcraft because my digital character is like, the fuck are you talking about? The defendants here, the government, are saying, well, hold on, we don't understand this motion. So the first part here, prohibit defendants from relying on existing statutory or contractual basis for suspending or terminating contracts or grants under the terms. So they're basically saying, wait, so we can't even end contracts that are supposed to end? This contract was scheduled to end today. Now you're saying we can't even end those? Obviously, the court is not saying that. This is a retarded question. And then 2, treat all contractual and grant terms as enforceable by contempt. So this is saying that, like, so if we go to negotiate a contract and we turn it down, are we going to get held in contempt of court now? Obviously, that's not what the court is saying for that TRO. And then 3 is prohibit defendants from conducting a payment integrity review process, including pursuant to statutorily or contractually conferred. So that here they're saying, and they've already lost these arguments when they lost, because they've already tried to appeal this TRO, when they're like, just to make sure, what the TRO is saying is basically, we're not allowed to do our job. We can't even fucking audit ourselves. That's what you're saying? Just to be clear, Judge Dipshit, right? These are, in my super uneducated opinion, but these read as ridiculous to me. Like, come on. To begin with, and as the court has already reiterated once, quote, to the extent defendants have continued to the blanket suspension of funds, they are ordered to immediately cease it and to take all necessary steps to honor the terms of contracts, grants, cooperative agreements, loans, and other federal assistance awards that were in existence as of January 19th, 2025, including but not limited to dispersing all funds payable under those terms. That temporary emergency relief was to restore the status quo as it existed before defendants' blanket suspension of congressionally appropriated funds pending a comprehensive review, given plaintiffs' strong showing of irreparable harm and that defendants' blanket suspension of funds was likely arbitrary and capricious under the Administrative Procedure Act. So the judge is saying here, you know what this was for. You were supposed to go back to the status quo. We're not gonna hold you in contempt for negotiating new contracts. We're not telling you that you can't end any contracts at all. And we're not telling you you're not allowed to do audits for your department. That's not what any of this was about. This reads like a presser. This is not a press release. You're in court right now. That's what this reads like, okay? So this is the court's response here. Defendant's instant motion does not contest or rebut plaintiff's irreparable harm showing and does not contest or rebut the court's finding that the agency action here was arbitrary and capricious under the APA. The court has also already reiterated that while, quote, of course, the TRO does not permit defendants to simply search for and invoke new legal authorities as a post hoc rationalization for the enjoined agency action. Enjoined means stopped. So the stopped action. So that means, obviously, again, this is another like video game or TV show brain, like, oh, well, the judge tried to stop us here, but if we just use this like clever little thing, we could just do the same thing. No. The TRO says you can't just go digging for new post hoc rationalizations to start killing all of the USAID disbursements. However, it, quote, does not preclude defendants from undertaking a good faith, individualized assessment of a contract or grant and, where the terms or authority under law allows, taking action with respect to that particular agreement consistent with any of the procedures required. So the court in their prior TRO already answered, what, we can't even do our ordinary contracts? We're going to get held in contempt? So this has already been answered by the prior TRO. This is a bullshit clarification or stay request. This is complete and total bullshit. The court has also, wait, we just did this one. The line here is unambiguous. Defendants cannot continue to suspend programs or disbursements based on the blanket suspension that was temporarily enjoined. The defendants cannot simply come up with a new post hoc rationalization in an attempt to justify the action that was temporarily enjoined, stopped, as likely arbitrary and capricious. Arbitrary meaning there is no statutory justification for it or procedural justification for it. Capricious, I think, just means like evil, vindictive, mean, right? Given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior. Well, in this case, so capricious, you're just like doing some shit out of nowhere and it's just like not what. Arbitrary and capricious for what it failed to consider. However, if since January 19th, 2025, defendants have suspended or terminated an agreement based on wholly independent legal authority and justification, rather than deriving from a general directive to suspend aid, then they are not acting in violation of the TRO. Under the terms of the TRO, any such agreement that was in effect as of January 19th, 2025 must be given effect and promptly receive disbursements only up until a suspension or termination taken pursuant to independent legal authority and justification. If, on the other hand, suspension or termination since then stem from a general directive, the line here is one that is well-worn and should be familiar. In litigation, the line, the line here is one that is well-worn and should be familiar in litigation. The line between good faith and pretext to justify otherwise unlawful conduct. So they should know what he's talking about here. Contrary to defendant's instant motion, the court has been clear the TRO does not mean that all contractual and grant terms are enforced by contempt or that they have to litigate every single breach of contract. The court has been explicit that the TRO does not place this court in the position of supervising defendant's determinations as to whether to continue or terminate individual grants. Defendants' remaining arguments in the instant motion show how quickly the ground is shifting in this matter and the importance of the court having the opportunity to consider and expeditiously resolve the parties' arguments at the preliminary injunction phase. For example, defendants assert that an injunction would raise serious constitutional concerns given the executive branch's extensive foreign relations power. However, they do not explain how this argument bears on likely violation of the APA, the authority on which the TRO was based and whose constitutional validity has not been challenged. Remember, I've said this to you. Okay, that's good that these are paying products because I said this to you colloquially and now judges are repeating it. Constitution, whenever this administration says constitutional, that's a buzzword for illegal. That's what they're saying. We think that we have the constitutional. Oh, you want to break the law because nobody cites the Constitution unless they're breaking a law. That's what this administration is doing. So the government is the defense here. The government says this is raising serious constitutional concerns, and the judge is saying, "Excuse me, constitutional. We're talking about the APA. That is a law that exists right now, and the authority on which the temporary restraining order is based, and whose constitutional validity has not been challenged. Nobody's come out and said the APA is unconstitutional. That's the fucking law, bro. Follow it." You can't sit here and say, oh, it's unconstitutional. Go challenge that later. That's not what this TRO is about. Moreover, the arguments seem to simply presume that defendants will prevail on the separation of powers questions that plaintiffs have raised without nearly enough analytical depth. So the government's just assuming, well, of course, we'll win, right? Without actually analyzing it. Oh, and then the judge is citing other cases where they're showing just the executive is not free from the ordinary controls and checks of Congress merely because foreign affairs are at issue. Oof, citing Roberts, well-known Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. I think that's his quote, right? Recognizing that the Constitution allocates some foreign policy power to the executive, grants some legislature and joins the president to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. The parties requested a briefing schedule to develop these arguments for the preliminary injunction phase, which the court has adopted and is still in progress. Have these lawyers passed the bar? Or are they all lawyers have passed the bar, right? Or are these lawyers just committing career suicide? I can't imagine sticking my neck out this hard for anyone. Bro, if you would have watched on stream when we were going through the Georgia, it was in that federal court, the Sidney Powell and Giuliani cases are just unbelievable. It is unbelievable what they tried to pass off as valid court cases. It's crazy. Unreal. First year law students would do a better job. I keep saying that, but that's, I mean, maybe it's intentionally all bad. I don't know. But for them to have the audacity to try to argue it in front of. Similarly, defendants, meaning the government, Trump's admin, argue for the first time that dispersing congressionally appropriated aid pursuant to existing agreements could result in waste, fraud, abuse, and even illegal payments, and cite the need to protect the integrity of their payment systems. Bro, that's literally what the case is about, and that's literally what the TRO was granted to stop you from doing. What? But the blanket suspension of congressionally appropriated funding that has been challenged and temporarily enjoined was the result of a categorical error or order, not any specific findings of possible waste, fraud, or abuse. In defending the challenged action at the court's TRO hearing, defendants did not even attempt to argue that the action was or could be justified based on waste, fraud, or abuse. And to date, defendants have not adduced any evidence of waste. Adduced, does that mean presented? Wait. Cite as evidence. Number 5. Yeah, okay. So they haven't even given this to the court. The defendants have not adduced any evidence of waste, fraud, or abuse aside from conclusory statements from a declarant who has serious questions about these topics. So remember also, this is similar. We're repeating a lot of what Trump did back in the election fraud cases. Big dog. They're big dog when they're in front of a camera, and then they're little dog in court. Right? Remember Giuliani in front of the cameras, there's been fraud on a level we've never seen before. Giuliani, when explaining to a judge, well, hold on, we're not alleging that any fraud has happened here. Even in asserting the argument now, defendants do not explain how it would bear on the reasons for granting the TRO, including plaintiffs' showing of irreparable harm and their likelihood of success in showing that the blanket suspension violated the APA. For the foregoing reasons, to the extent defendant's motion to clarify is not mooted by the above, it is denied. And defendant's motion to stay the court's TRO pending an emergency appeal is also denied. So there is no clarification given because you already have all the clarification you need, and you cannot fight this TRO. The TRO is still good. The court reiterates once more, the court's TRO does not permit defendants to simply continue their blank suspension. Well, so I was just reiterating before. And this was 3 days ago? February 22nd. Jesus. Destiny, this is the newest update. Wait, isn't this what I have on screen? Oh no, wait, this is like 20 minutes ago. Oh no, this is the same thing, right? Oh, but the court listener is attached. In the simplest terms, the freeze was ill-conceived from the beginning. Defendants either wanted to pause up to $3 trillion in federal spending practically overnight, or they expected each federal agency to review every single one of its grants, loans, and funds for compliance in less than 24 hours. The breadth of that command is almost unfathomable. So this is what I was saying before when I was like, if you want to pass an executive order doing some crazy shit, then go for it. But like, you have to confer with your officers and your departments. Like everybody needs to be ready. This is like a long time coming. There is no world. We can even go to the business world. There's no business. There's no corporation where the CEO or the COO like puts out a blanket announcement. Everybody's saying, "Hey guys, just so you know, all the funding for all of your departments is frozen until you guys can like prove that like all of your shit is kosher," without like any warning, any advance notice, anything at all. Like it's just insane. And this is for the government of the United States of America, which is, if treated as a single corporation, maybe the largest single entity in the world. Maybe, I don't know if the China or Indian government might be bigger, I guess, but like, Jesus. This is not USAID. This is freezing of all funds. Yes, this one is. Yeah. I think the last one we read might have been as well. Wait, fuck, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. The same thing. No, it's not the same thing. Actually, it doesn't matter. Hold on. Okay, this one we read was the Global Health Council, where they are not complying, basically. And then this is, okay. So this is the one that is right here. This is the National Council of Nonprofits versus the Office of Management and Budget. Okay, and this is for all federal financial assistance. Okay, yeah, this is a different one. So how, so how many of these? We're like 2-ish weeks into this. So just to be clear, okay, just to track, okay, to come back out and to do like a top-down understanding of what's happened. Okay, the Trump administration did something that was probably illegal. It was challenged by a ton of different people in the courts. And now we've had multiple temporary restraining orders issued against the government saying, hey, you need to not do this. And it seems to be the case that so far, the government has said, fuck you, we're going to keep doing it. That seems to be the case. So we're in a world right now where the government is just defying these TROs, or at least they're not showing the court that they have been, they haven't shown the court that they've been following any of them. What can be done to actually stop them? I mean, a military coup. If the executive doesn't want to follow what's going on, then they're the police. It's the executives. What do you mean? What do you do when the cops don't follow the rules? Other cops have to come in. Like, that's the only way to actually stop it, right? Remember, if you have to enforce stuff from a court with force, you're relying on the executive. So if the court is trying to enforce something on the executive, I mean, you're kind of fucked. So what would the next step be for the courts? Nothing. There is no next step. There's all the this is the maximum amount of things that the courts could. I mean, they could start issuing arrest warrants, I guess. No. Yes, courts can issue warrants. No, I don't believe a court can issue a warrant, right? Because I think a warrant needs to be requested, right? Does a court issue a warrant for somebody's arrest, or does a attorney general or a prosecutor have to request the warrant? I actually don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure. National Council of Nonprofits versus the Office of Budget Management. In the simplest terms, phrase was ill-conceived from the beginning. Oh, this is down here. The touchstone of this inquiry, the arbitrary and capricious review at this stage of the litigation, remains largely unchanged from the court's earlier opinion. The touchstone of this inquiry is rationality, and defendants' actions flunk that test. Okay, so when they say arbitrary and capricious, and I gave definitions of those words earlier, this sounds like an actual legal, like a legally defined thing. In the legal context, capricious is defined in Booth v. Roofing Supply, Inc. of Monroe. Arbitrary and capricious conduct is willful and unreasonable action without consideration or regard for the facts and circumstances. Arbitrary and capricious is a standard for judicial review and appeal, often seen in administrative law. Under this standard, the finding of a lower court will not be disturbed unless it has no reasonable basis or if the judge decided without reasonable grounds or adequate consideration of the circumstances. Although there's no set standard for an arbitrary and capricious decision, guidance can be found in this case. It authors the court to set aside agency action found to be arbitrary, capricious, or an abuse of discretion, or otherwise not in accordance with the law. Under this standard, the court must find the rational connection between the facts found and the choice made. The court must decide whether the agency considered the relevant factors and whether this has been a clear error of judgment, or whether, okay. Bench warrants exist for non-compliance. I don't know how it would work with this. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Defendants still cannot provide a reasonable explanation for why they needed to freeze all federal financial assistance in less than a day to safeguard valuable taxpayer resources. Doing so was not and could never be rational, especially when the decision was made without grappling with its catastrophic effects or the logistical nightmare of its implementation. Ah, like you should confer with your officers. Destiny, this is why the Trump admin failed to rescind DACA last time, by the way. It was found to be arbitrary and capricious pursuant to the ABA. Oh, interesting. Okay. So does arbitrary and capricious have to break a law, or can it just be arbitrary and capricious, I guess? My colleagues are saying that their NSF-funded grants are being reviewed for any words associated with DEI, but also words climate change and biodiversity, Doge, or actual morons. Yeah, it just seems like a big control F on everything they don't like, which is what we expected him to do, which is what he is doing. Remember, all the shock and awe that exists right now is just like shock and awe at the horror of it all. None of this is a surprise. All of this was stuff he wanted to do his first admin, tried to do his first admin, or in some cases was able to do in his first administration. And now he said he wants to do it, and now he's here, and now he is doing it. So all of this was like completely and totally like, yeah, this is what they're doing. Yes. Agencies are creatures of statute and are therefore subject to the limits prescribed by Congress. In other words, they literally have no power to act except to the extent Congress has authorized. If an agency exceeds that power, the court must set aside its action under the APA. OMB, the Office of... I keep wanting to call it the Office of Management Business. That's not what it is. The Office of Management and Budget. This is not a real, I don't believe that's a real, like, totally independent thing. I think that's just a thing that exists in the White House. Yes, this exists as part of the executive office. OMB's organic statute is 31 U.S.C. 503. Within it, defendants primarily rely on subsections A2 and A5, but neither appears to grant the expansive authority that OMB tried to exercise here. So this is probably the law that authorizes the existence or the creation of that office, and they cited A2, provide overall direction and leadership to the executive branch on financial management matters by establishing financial management policies and requirements and by monitoring the establishment and operation of federal government financial management systems. And then A5 is monitor the financial execution of the budget in relation to actual expenditures, including timely performance reports. They're trying to pretend, this is the same argument they're using in the media. They're trying to use the same arguments in, court. Well, look, it says that we can, manage the budget, so that means we should be able to cancel all spending. That's what they're trying. That's the argument they're going with. Defendants have not pointed to specific authority that allows it to unilaterally pull the plug on nearly all federal monetary flows. It's mainly supervisory rather than directly active. That subsection purports to be to monitor the financial execution of the budget in relation to actual expenditures. Such language falls well short of actively deciding whether agencies must temporarily pause all federal financial assistance. The actions are illegal. They just are. What is for the foregoing reasons, the court will enter a preliminary injunction. Ooh, so does that mean this TRO got upgraded then, or is now converted into a preliminary injunction, meaning this freeze will now be stayed unless the government actually wins the court case? We're done with the TRO, and now it's just... Do you think it's actually possible to get 2/3 of the Senate if Trump publicly defies the court's orders? No, Republicans are cowards. Okay. Somebody said tomorrow was a big day. Oh, wait, because they have to provide... What did we read this? They have to provide a report by tomorrow? Oh, no, wait, this date has already passed. Look at the titles of Brian Tyler Cohen's videos. Every day he says massive loss for Trump admin, but nothing ever happens. I mean, they're losing in court, but all they can do is, I mean, again, the court can't do anything except for have them lose. There's a hearing for tomorrow. I assume they will hold in contempt then if they don't comply. Gotcha. Watch the press brief from today. If it has something new or interesting in it, sure. If it's just Trump repeating his same 6 talking points, I'd rather kill myself.